I was continuing on a second pass. I had done the cheeks a second time, and the last video I was working on the top of the head and the back of the top of the head. This next video I'll be addressing all of these clumped up feathers and adding more detail to their contoured shape and addressing like the grain line right here. You can see it runs all the way through, so I'll be ditching these grain lines so that they won't be a distraction to the rest of the carving. It's interesting that, you know, this side, they're not as obvious. You know, that is kind of an anomaly. Perhaps I went after them a little bit more. You can see just a little bit. So, you know, as you take the time to locate them and address the difference that they are showing compared to the rest of the wood around it and the wood burning around it, you can blend it in so that these grain lines are not going to show. So with that, we'll continue on. And I was burning a little warmer because the wood was harder on one side and I was working a little faster as this comes up to temperature. Pretty good. So now areas that haven't been addressed begin to stick out. They're going to be lighter in color and become a little more obvious. Before I start handling this head too much, I better put my glove on. So I had ended up towards the back of the head, the back of the top of the head. And was splitting off some of these longer lines. You can see that one's quite long. You know, when the feather or when the line is half an inch long, that's not lifelike. So, and see, like right here, you can see a little bit of a grain line going across, and there's two feather barbs right here that need to be separated just by simply going in and splitting it like that. I was quite serious when I said to get away from your piece. And when you come back, you're going to see more things that need to be done. Which is why, you know, a third pass is inevitable. You think you've got all the grain lines tackled and you've added a lot more splits, but still have things that need hunting down. Feathers that are too long. It's the first day of spring today. Okay. We can see that lighter right here. Split it. I think also coming back for subsequent passes, in some areas it feels like you're almost overworking it, and you feel like you need to move on. So I do, and when I come back on those subsequent passes, I catch up on what I should have done. There's always a big sigh of relief when I feel like I've taken my final wood burning stroke on something as detailed as this redhead drakehead. Okay. By adding that twist, you're adding depth in between the feather barbs, as well as separating them from each other. Of course, when you're making those separations, you need to consider the feather flow. My ring is pressing against this glove and it hurts. You know, the second pass is a little bit slower with less to do. You need to slow down to find those areas and aim and hit correctly when you're laying your wood burning blade down. But of course there isn't as much to do because the majority of the burning was done on that first pass. Okay, so there's a grain line that's running right along here. I'm going to address that. Just have to go in and reinforce that first pass that was done to actually obliterate the grain line. I think I've got it. I will be hard pressed to find anywhere I can really lay my wood burning tip on by the time I'm finished. I'll be bringing this out to World Championships in Ocean City next month. If you want to see it firsthand, just ask me. I'll have it handy. Okay, so now we're getting into some of those contoured feather clumps as I move down on the side of the head toward the neck. Like right in here, there's no texture in this line right there, so I'm just adding a little bit more. And then checking on the other side. That one I could actually use a couple more strokes on it. Right in there. And I'm making sure I pulled that stroke all the way through on that. Turn it down just a little bit because I'm starting to slow down to be more accurate. Alright, grain line coming after you. Right there, right there, right there, right there, all the way down. You have to look for the difference in the color of the wood Oh, because it burns slightly different. Okay, so let's get in here. To keep checking to make sure I haven't pulled this out of your view, or the view of the camera. It's a lot easier with this setup, that's for certain. I'm just seeing grain lines and following them right now. My intention was to get to the back of the head right off the bat, but these grain lines were really sticking out to me, and I might as well just take care of them. Okay. I think I got rid of those. Come back here and start working again. So I'm just going in and contouring if I've missed anything on the individual feather clump. It's almost like becomes an obsession finding where you need to get in and split things up. So I'm looking at, the back side and the top side and the bottom side of these contoured feathers, and I'm making sure that they've been burned equally or accordingly. There's a little bit of a grain line showing there. Get in and split that up a little bit.